welcome back to Baybayin Conversation. So I'm
And
Ria,
I'm Luis.
and we are your conversations for today. So, oh my God, thank you so much for the first episode. We are so humbled and so um we are very grateful that we have reached over 100 likes since we started. Sorry, wala akong accurate stats.
Stats.
Pero 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 in our pilot episode, have we had from our last checking, we had over 6,000 views. Oh my
Oh my
God, can you
god,
imagine,
I can't
Louis?
believe it. That's just our first episode.
Yes, and that's our first episode. So, from the bottom of our hearts, we would like to thank you and I hope na hindi kayo magsawa sa mga magaganda at gwapong itsura namin. Kasi for we will be doing this for a long time. So, you will have to get used to seeing us around every week. If you are not able to see this on Facebook, you can also look us up on YouTube. Meron kaming Spotify and we also have Anchor. So you may just look up Baybayin Conversations. You can hit us up on our social media platforms
Yes.
and um and we hope that we can for that you will continue to support us as we continue on with this passion project of ours. So,
And if you have
love ya.
questions or suggestions, you can always PM us or message us on Facebook.
Yeah,
So we'll be more than
yeah.
welcome to have you there to talk with you.
So send us
Send us
ideas, what
ideas,
you want to hear from us.
what you want us to talk about, and
So,
maybe we could talk about it on the next episode. So episode 3, that would be.
yes. And you will be acknowledged that the idea came
Coming
from
from
you.
you.
We're very strict when it comes to citations.
Yes.
So we're not gonna rule you out from the
We
conversation.
will surely give you credit too. So,
Yes, giving credit where it is
yes.
due. As what is taught to us back
Back
in
in college.
college.
Yes.
Pag nag-plagiarize ka, 5. Oh
Cinco.
my God,
Yes.
English 1. Yung very first subject mo ng first sem, ang sinabi agad sa'yo, pag nag-plagiarize
Plagiarize
ka,
ka.
5 ang score mo.
And
5 ka na, suspended ka pa.
there's no reason to plagiarize kasi on the first day of classes on all colleges they will give you like pamphlets or flyers or
Yeah,
mga papel para to help you how to
I think I
cite
still
to
have
help
that
you
with
how
me.
to cite. Kasi ang mahirap kasi dun sa UPB dati, we have three colleges. We have CAC, CSS, and CS. And the way you cite your sources is different from one college to another.
Yeah, kasi for even for different fields, like if you're in the social sciences, you have to follow APA, tama ba?
Yeah, yes.
If you're in the literature or the liberal arts or something, kailangan what
Yes,
CMS,
Chicago
Chicago
manuals.
Manual. Tapos, pagdating sa sciences, like they have
Mm-hmm.
MLA
Yes.
ata. So, iba-iba yung ways of citation, pero nonetheless, the principle that was embedded to us being freshmen, as soon as we as soon as we became freshmen at the University of the Philippines Baguio, yun agad yung principle na sinabi at across all colleges. Never
Never
plagiarize.
plagiarize.
Okay. So yeah, going back to the topic, we're gonna give you credit if we got a good idea from you and
Of course.
we discussed that it's a good topic to discuss for the conversation, then we will surely acknowledge you for your
For your
idea.
ideas.
So drop those ideas below if you have them or you send them over to us. So Luis, ano na nga ba nangyari sa atin?
So Ria, So before I answer your question, actually last episode, if you haven't watched it yet, we actually discussed about adjusting to the new normals from a global pandemic. And to relate that with our episode, I've seen this meme from the internet that says, "I've never imagined something like this." I'm just rephrasing it. "I've never imagined in my entire life that my hands would consume more alcohol than my mouth would do." So our topic for today is about the other alcohol. So actually, ngayon is the kinabukasan ng aming inuman kahapon. So actually, we had
Mhm.
a ball three numan. So that's actually a wordplay of ball three, kasi that was a combination of our block groups back blocks
Blocks.
back then. There was a ball one and a ball two, and as we moved through college, like from first year to second year or so, nag-combine yung blocks namin, and then we just decided to name it one and name it ball three. So that's ball three and inuman as in virtual na inuman. So this is the morning after. So we're shooting the morning after our inuman. That's what we did, Ria.
So, um, right before this shoot, I was telling Luis that I had a really bad hangover kasi everyone was drinking decent drinks. Like there was water, there was there was yogurt drink, there was
May, may
what
gatas
else?
din.
May gatas, may pero yun nga, may root
May root
beer,
beer.
may may may
May
beer na
beer.
legit na beer. Tapos ako being the atribida that I am, I had two bottles of soju and I consumed it all by myself, all throughout the
That's the
inuman.
inuman.
Ako yung literal na nag-inuman. Pero yan, it was a sort of a get together ng um what cumulative blockmates namin. So it lasted until the morning, and then it's the kinabukasan na. So medyo may may buzz pa sa may konting buzz pa sa utak ko, pero nakaligo naman na ako. So medyo nag-ease na yung hangover
Mhm.
sa akin. Ikaw ba, Luis? May hangover ka ba?
So,
Anong klaseng hangover ang meron
yun
ka?
nga eh, kasi just to give a context kung paano yung inuman, nag-start kasi sa Philippine time is 10:30 ng gabi, di ba? Tama ba? 10:30. Tapos natapos siya ng
Yeah, 10:30.
magfo-4 na ng umaga. So literally parang 2 araw yon. Well, in my case, kasi nasa US ako, I can't drink that much kasi simula pa lang ng araw ko like 7:30 ng umaga. So parang ang hindi naman maganda na you start your day with an alcohol. Well, so I just had like
Unless you're like a
yeah, a
binge
binge
drinker.
drinker. So I only had like couple cans. Couple cans. Yeah, I didn't drink much, so I didn't have the same hangover as what Ria had. So
Pero there are different types of
yes,
hangover
yes,
then. Like the hangover of being
yes,
together, the hangover of the hype
yeah.
na yung
Mm-hmm.
chikahan, ganyan. And it was so nice kasi yun nga eh, it parang when Luis and I were talking about proposing an inuman to the block, parang gaano katagal ba yung magla-last? Do you remember that
Oo, naalala
conversation?
ko yun.
Tapos parang parang dep parang sabi ko, depende kung ilan yung sasali, pero I doubt na kaya yun ng isang oras. Oh, 'di ba? Surprise from 10:30 PM to 4 AM, and we were less than 10.
Oo, oo.
What more kung yung
Yung buong
what
buong
more kung
block.
yung buong block namin do'n,
Oo.
'di ba? So it would last a day. Diyos ko Lord, ilang soju yung kaya kong ma-consume without losing my head, 'di ba?
Yun nga kaya ko rin tinanong kay Ria yun kasi, "Do you think how many hours tayo yung session natin sa inuman?" Sabi ko. Tas parang yung unang tanong ni Ria, yung unang sagot ni Ria na sabi niya, depende kung ilan tayo." Yung reasoning ko nung pagtatanong nun is para alam ko kung ilan yung inumin na bibilhin ko bago pumunta sa session. Kasi parang sabi ko, ayoko namang maubusan ng inuman ta's sila nagiinuman pa rin dun, parang ang pangit naman tignan. So, kaya ko yun tinanong. So, well,
Ayun ba? Hindi ko alam yun.
yun yung actual na reason ko kung ba't ko siya tinanong actually.
Akala ko kaya mo siya tinanong is baka meron kang activities for the day, kailangan mong i-squeeze in yung inuman. Naku, pa yun pala yung rason kung ba't mo
Yeah.
tinanong.
I've reserved that day for the 3 numan. Kaya
You're hearing it just as freshly as I do. Guys. And I prepared 2 bottles of soju para dun sa inuman. Oh my God. Grabe talaga. Pero overall, it was fun. It, being the language and literature students that we were and alumni, all of us have graduated. Parang we had a round robin of um, questioning, pero alphabetical kasi back in college, we had class
mhm,
cards, di
yes,
ba? And professors would go and call people alphabetical for attendance, for
for recitation.
recitation, for exams, ganyan. So, so nasanay kami sa ganun. So, sige, alphabetical. At saktong Baldos yung
Oo.
pinakauna. So, si Luis yung
Lagi
nauna.
akong una, lagi sa class, lagi sa attendance, pati naman sa inuman ako yung nauna. Kaya ako yung unang napagtanungan ng mga status sa buhay, future plans, mga ganyan. So, that's how we actually went with the entire inuman.
Yeah. Yeah. It was mostly catching up talaga. And chikahan,
Mhm.
ganyan, kung may love
Love
life.
life.
Kaso
Oo
wala
nga,
eh.
wala eh.
Like both Luis and I,
Wala
wala
eh.
eh.
Wala talaga. Since Ria actually created the group on Facebook, like I think it's called Room on it's like a messenger with
Yeah. It's a messenger
it's a
room.
messenger room. So tipong syempre tag-isa kami ng screen dun sa room. And then you would also realize like how we're actually divided because we were actually going global in a global way kasi
Ah,
it's not just with friends that are in the Philippines. There's one in Singapore,
tapos si Luis, nasa
nasa US, so
US.
ayun. So tapos we were actually distant from each other virtually, and of course as we were observing social distancing too. And then alam mo yung normally 'pag may inuman laging may mga suggestion kung ano bang puwedeng gawin habang nagiinuman. Tas may mga magsasabing, laro tayo, bring me, ganyan. O kaya maglaro tayo, trip to Jerusalem, mga gano'n. Alam mo yun, gano'n po kami mag-usap nung kahapon. Kaya nasa unang sip pa lang ng parang inuman, parang lasing
Oo,
na
like
kami,
the
oo.
first half pa lang. The first half pa lang, "Uy, laro tayo ng ano," tapos yung iba
Oo,
nagfi-filter, gumagamit ng
filter,
filter kasi
ganyan.
they were
Using
using
their
their
phones.
phone, habang kami na mga naka-laptop or mga naka-PC,
Hindi,
hindi kami
walang
makapag-filter.
filter. Pero the good thing about having the PC and the laptop is as the group got bigger, yung mga naka-phone hindi na nila makita yung mga participants dun sa room. Eh, kami kita pa rin
Yeah,
namin lahat. So, you know the messenger room was actually our way of how do you put it? that's actually like I would say just say a deconstruction of how we would actually do it on work, because when you're actually at work with Zoom, you just go with how the organizer controls the situation. But back when we were having the three room and the messenger room, we were doing whatever we want to do. We were doing, as Ria would say,
Yeah.
filters. We would not even be on the same stance and the entire thing. Like we would be lying on the bed, or one would just be leaving a picture of the fridge, or one would just be getting out and in of the conversation, the session,
Inuman.
the inuman sa
The
inuman
inuman
session kasi may
session.
kachat siya dun sa messenger, ganyan. So things you wouldn't really actually do when you're at work. So we were really comfortable with one another when we were having the three numan.
Yeah, and ano, syempre, it was around people that you're comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with. Unlike sa work na you have to be professional, na you have to be, um, hindi naman formal at times, oo, pero mostly professional. Pero kami parang, walwal, kumbaga. Parang, like how we really would act if we were together in one
Mm-hmm.
room. So, while we are in the topic of inuman experiences, so I guess we can share what you experience or how you are as a drinker, Luis. Kasi may mga iba't ibang types ng drinkers, 'di ba? Or like people when they're drunk, whether they're the angry kind of drunk or the sleepy kind of drunk or the clingy kind of drunk, yung mga nagda-drunk
Mm-hmm.
call or nagda-drunk text, ganyan. So, share mo naman yung experience mo, like the best and the worst.
So feeling ko this would be a good time to put that scene where it goes, ang susunod na programa ay rated SPG. Striktong patnubay at gabay ng magulang ang kailangan. Maaring may mga masiselang
MTRTV,
tema, lingwahe, karahasan,
sa mga
sexual, horror o drogan
alcohol o
na
droga
hindi
na
angkop
hindi
sa mga
angkop
bata.
sa mga
Yeah,
bata.
because feeling ko this would be an NSFW theme. So
Oh my God!
then more likely because we're actually thinking about inuman. So, we never know like how our content would be distributed. So, to answer Ria's question, there was this incident where I would drunk text someone, not the person that that I really want to send the text to, but I have these close friends where I would just send streams of messages to, I won't name, to that friend. I won't give a specification of the gender. So that's how I am when I'm drunk.
So, ganun ka pala klaseng
Yeah,
drinker.
unfortunately.
Pero what was your best and worst inuman experience?
Best inuman, worst inuman experience. My best and worst experiences in inuman. Um, Feeling ko I'll give the context where I really didn't start drinking, like drinking, because back like after college, because back then in college maybe I would just get like a glass of wine, something like that, or a can of beer, but not more than that. So my drinking experiences were after college. So this might sound, how do you say that? A pageant answer, but my best inuman session was the ball 3 that we just had, cuz actually that's my first inuman with that amount of people involved, like a group of people. Um, which brings me to my worst inuman because I don't usually drink with people. So my worst inuman is every inuman that I have because I only drink by myself. So when I'm drunk, no one really knows who I am, but my drunk self, I'm not sure who would know me more than myself when I'm drunk because no one really knows. How about you, Ria? What's your best and
Ako,
worst inuman experiences?
oh my gosh. Okay, so unlike Luis, who started drinking after college, ako, um, I even to this day, when I graduated like 5 years ago na, I still consider that as one of my worst experiences. So, mas marami ata akong worst kaysa best. Kasi I don't know, for some reason I would often find myself in some weird situation when I'm drunk. So um the earliest time that I got full blown drunk was during finals week of my fourth year of the last sem.
Okay.
So um our org had a send off for us graduating students, and then right after that the girls in the org, so that involves us, fourth years, and then the younger ones, we went to this club in Baguio that offered free cocktails to ladies. And it was a Wednesday, so it was a free drinks night for the ladies. And then I I was I was not a responsible drinker then. I That was literally the first time that I got to hang out with friends, and then I was not inside the house, and I there was dancing, there was music. So I went all out. I went all out, and then I lost control of my alcohol intake. So much so that the younger ones and my batchmates had to drag me down the stairs from the club, like shoulder to shoulder. They like hindi ko na ma-feel yung leg muscles ko. So paano ko ba siya paano ko ba siya lalagyan ng analogy? Parang ano, parang para akong patay na na inaano lang, na ginaganon lang
Binubuhat lang.
oo. Tapos um they had to send me to this coffee shop right below the club. Um, so the club kasi was in the second floor. Tapos there was a coffee shop at the first floor. So dun nila ako pinakalma. So they bought coffee, ganyan. And I kept saying weird stuff. I wouldn't say what it is. Um, um, And then I think that's not really the worst part. The worst part kasi was I told one of my batchmates na I had to go to the restroom kasi nga I felt like I was going to vomit. Tapos in the hallway from our place, which was by the window, to the restroom, which was right across the hall. There was a hallway where the diners are here on one side and the kitchen is on the other
Mhm.
side. So there was a hallway in between. Right in the middle of that hallway, I just projectile vomit. Grabe talaga. Like, I didn't I still have a clear memory of it. Like everything else I couldn't remember, but that vomiting talaga was one for the books. It was one for the books talaga. Tapos um like nag-sorry yung batchmate ko. Parang I didn't know na I should apologize. So parang hindi ko alam kung nag-sorry ba ako dun sa
Mhm.
manager or dun sa staff. Kasi nga I ruined dinner for everyone else and and the appetite of the kitchen staff. Kasi it was an open kitchen.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So, diba?
Yeah,
Parang, oh my
that's
gosh.
actually a bad
So
one.
parang, oh my gosh. Parang, looking back, that was really one of my worst. So my second worst was I was a responsible drinker na. Pero I wasn't used to drinking Emperador, which is a brandy.
Mhm.
I wasn't used to drinking Emperador. I was in a house um with my former workmates rather. Tapos we were drinking Emperador, and then uh I got so drunk. I thought I was okay kasi hindi ko nafi-feel yung kick. Tapos sabi ko magsi-CR lang ako. Tapos while I was in the CR, I was just dazed. Like I was staring out of nowhere. And then when I tried to, oh my gosh, when I tried to hold the sink, as in yung marble na
Okay.
lababo, it
Oh my
fell.
god.
Like it literally crashed down. I'm and I was and kasi narinig nila sa labas. So parang tawag dito, Ma'am Jet, pwede ba akong pumasok? Ganyan. Sabi ko, sige, pasok ka. And I was like sprawled on the floor with the broken bathroom sink beside me. Ano nangyari? Sabi ko, hindi ko alam. Maghihilamos lang sana ako kaso ganito na yung nangyari. Ganyan, ganyan. Tapos, tapos I have a memory of it. Pero like the morning after, I was I was like, ah, nasira ko yung lababo nila sa CR. Kailangan ko kayang bayaran. So, parang gano'n lang yung thoughts ko. Pero like, hindi ko naisip na I made a fool out of
Mhm.
myself. Kasi nga it was around people who I trust naman. Pero like, to think that my strength could break a bathroom sink that was made of ceramic and
Mhm.
marble. Like, did
Exert
I
that much
exert that
force.
much of a force? So, like, grabe talaga. As in, like, looking back, those two experiences were my worst. I had a lot of other bad experiences when it comes to drinking and going out. Kasi social drinker ako eh. I don't drink by myself.
Unlike me.
Baligtad
Mhm.
tayo. So, baligtad tayo. Ako, I don't drink by myself. Kasi, um, hindi ko, parang I don't trust myself when I'm drunk and alone.
Okay. I get your point.
So, I'm always So the common situation is dito sa bahay, especially during the pandemic. Tapos wala pang liquor ban. So my sisters and I will be drinking dun sa bed namin, dun sa bedroom namin. O kaya if I was with friends, either sa loob ng bahay nila or kapag gusto nung iba kong workmates na mag-party, pupunta kami sa club. Ganyan. Pero never ko na-experience na uminom mag-isa. It's either lagi akong may isang kasama or nasa group ako. Para at least alam ko na may magbabantay sa akin if ever I go out of control. So as for the best, I would definitely say that the Three Numan was one of the books, one for the books rather, na inuman. Kasi yun nga eh, kasi nung college kami, Mababait mababait kasi kami, eh. Like hindi kami yung batch namin for some reason, hindi yung tara party
Mhm.
tayo or tara bar tayo or something. Hindi kami gano'n. Like mag kung makikita niyo kaming magkakasama, it's either nasa library kami or somewhere outside, pero
Mhm.
nag-aaral. Gano'n kami ka-geeky at ka-nerdy nung college. So, yung Trinuman was actually the very first time that a group of us gathered together and like literally drank. Kasi we also had a seniors ball na exclusive dun sa batch
Mhm.
namin. But that was an entirely different thing. It was an event eh. We were wearing gowns, we were
Suits.
wearing formal wear. Yeah, and it was an event. Pero yung simple na gathering and kwentuhan and chikahan. So yung three naman yung very first. Siguro another one would be um I think the most recent one I had kasi I had I had a drinking session with my oldest brother and one of our cousins in Batangas kasi we went there over the long weekend. Tapos uminom kami ng surprise 6 na litro ng Red Horse and most of it ako ang
6
uminom.
liters?
6 liters. Like yung 1 liter na
Mhm.
bote ng Red Horse, supposedly 4 lang 'yun. 4 lang yung in-order. Tapos nag-enjoy yung dalawa, nag-order pa ng dalawang additional. So naging 6. Ako wala akong kaalam-alam, inom lang ako ng inom.
Oh
So
my God, for real? 6 liters.
for re- for real. Tapos um I was it was my first time drinking with my brother. Kasi when we drink here sa bahay, he would often drink with my male cousins and my uncles, ganyan. Tapos kami, all girls kaming nagiinuman. So we drank separately. Pero that night or that night, kaming parang it was our first time together na uminom. Tapos we talked about a lot of things. And I think that was the turning point in our relationship kasi it made me realize na my oldest brother is back. Parang ganon.
Oh.
Na parang na parang yung figure niya na naging absent for a long period of time, parang bumalik na, parang ganon. Tapos there were things that were said, there were things that were apologized for,
Mhm.
ganyan. And basically, nagkaroon ng reconciliation. And now we're on better terms. Kasi turning point talaga yung inuman. And I was glad na game akong uminom that night. Kasi otherwise, parang we would have been, we would have, we wouldn't have the relationship that we have now. Ayun. So, for now ha, yun yung best experiences ko when it comes to drinking. Laging ano, no? Laging heavy yung drinks ko kapag yung parehong best, parehong worst. Sorry, hard drinker kasi ako. Hindi ako, hindi ako like, okay lang sa akin yung flavored beer. Pero kasi, kumbaga, hindi na siya satisfying sa akin. Ma-red horse na ako ngayon. At gano'n.
Like your worst experience started with like cocktails and now your worst ended up with like beers with your with family members.
Yeah, yeah. So yun. That answers, that's the answer to your question. So those were my best drinking experiences. And um parang paano ko ba siya i-explain? The pa, siguro I would reference my worst na lang, my worst drinking experiences. Parang one worst experience was before I graduated. So it was kind of like a rite of
Mhm.
passage before the official graduation. Tapos yung isa ko pang worst drinking experience was after graduation. Not to say na hindi ako responsible drinker ever since. The graduation served as a a ceremony, but like it wasn't as ceremonial in real life, so to speak. Like, yung graduation ko with my worst drinking experience was like my actual way of adulting. Tapos yung graduation, siya lang yung for formality. So I'm not sure how to put that into an analogy. Kasi I'm thinking of key holders and doors. Pero kasi mas malaki yung door kesa dun sa key holder. So yung pag-iinom ba yung key holder at yung graduation yung pinto? Tama ba yung analogy ko? Does it make sense?
I think the experience is the key holder and graduation is the door.
Yeah, 'di ba? Mas may sense yung ganong analogy.
Or why won't we put it like the experience is the key and the graduation is the door? Because the key is like a turning point, like turning point, like opening doors.
Eh,
Opening doors to a new morning, which is kinabukasan.
yes! Opening doors to a new
Yeah,
future,
opening
to
doors
a
to a
new
new
day.
day. Alcohols are, even in cultures, alcohols are really part of ceremonies, like
Ceremonies.
ceremonies. So like your graduation might actually be a ceremony, and the alcohol, as what you've mentioned earlier, is like a factor for that rite of passage. Is like a way of a celebratory way of life, or of an event.
Pero yeah, I guess I get your point na um the alcohol was the celebratory factor and the graduation was the
Yes,
celebration.
yes,
Am I,
yes,
did I get you
yes.
right?
That's how we want to put it.
Yun nga, I do agree na even in cultures both in indigenous and um modern
Yes,
or
yes.
westernized,
Modern. Yes.
alcohol plays a big part in terms of um celebrations. Parang yung iba, so much so that a celebration is useless without
Mm-hmm.
alcohol.
Yes.
May ganun. Parang the celebration is empty without the alcohol. So may mga ganun na, in my case at least, na parang um I was able to celebrate right before the
Mm-hmm.
celebration.
Yes.
Pero of course in more ways than one, I'm glad that I graduated in the first place and at the right time. I graduated kasi for those of you who are unaware, you may look it up. I was um I was part of
Group of students.
an issue um of a group of students who were issued about not getting enough units or not being able to take enough subjects in order to graduate. We only found out that we were going to graduate 2 days before the actual day. The point between when I found out that I wasn't going to graduate. And the time when I found out that I was going to graduate, parang parang yun yung depressive adulting post pre postgraduate blues ko. Kasi I didn't ako personally, I didn't experience postgraduate blues in the same way that other people may have experienced it. Kasi for some people, they really had it bad na like they actually became depressed right after they graduated. And it took them some time to adjust. Pero ako kasi, in my case, mas depressed ako nung before I graduated
Mm.
in comparison to after
Yes.
I graduated. Kasi, kumbaga parang yung concerns nila like, paano ko isu-sustain yung sarili ko or paano ako maghahanap ng work, hindi ko siya issue, not because of my credentials, but because I was already working part-time. Nagsa-summer job kasi ako nung college. So, kumbaga parang hindi hindi ako nag-struggle na maghanap ng work in the same way that other people may have or may have concerns with. The graduation served as a validation lang na okay, okay, you are now okay to actually look for a
Mhm.
job and to actually sustain yourself. Pero like the feeling of being an adult ish was more was something I felt more nung umiinom ako. I don't know for some people, pero in my case, ganun kasi yung nangyari. Ikaw ba, sa'yo ba?
While Ria was having was having the drinking experience as her rite of passage for the actual ceremony, which is her graduation. So it was a different case for me because unlike Ria, I wasn't part of that group of students who weren't like that group of students. So I didn't really experience like the stress or the pressure or the uncertainty of not knowing or knowing not knowing if they were going to graduate or not. So in my case the graduation was actually the rite of passage right in there for more opportunities in the future.
And so I guess we can end our conversation right there. And now it's time for your much awaited
Language.
language trivia. Ding 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 ding. Okay, so for this language trivia, I'm going to give the floor to Luis kasi it's his turn to give you guys the language trivia for the day. So take it away, Luis.
So I'll just make a connection with the e-numan and with the code switching. So when you're actually drinking, it's like you're changing to a different person, or maybe you're switching from one personality to another. So in a similar sense, that is also applicable to language, even in normal conversation. Now that we're using conversations, I can't even say the word conversation right. So yeah, so there's actually like a similar phenomenon, not involving drinks actually, to be in reality, where you switch from one language to another. Where you switch from using one language to another. So in linguistics, we have this term that we call code switching and code mixing. So I'll be going explaining like what are the difference of the two, but only at a surface level, because I don't want us spending hours like discussing on this linguistic phenomenon. So okay, so let me
It took us a few it took us a few
few
days
days.
of um classes just to explain what code switching and code mixing are.
Yes,
So we will give it to you at the most basic
yes.
level.
Let's start with defining like what the term code is. So code is actually in short, in layman's term, like the language of a group, or it could also mean like the grammars or the rule of the language. So let me begin by saying that there are different kinds of speakers. So one is a monolingual speaker. That means you can only speak one language. Second is bilingual. You can speak two languages. And then there's multilingual, which is you can speak at least three languages. So there are people who could speak like seven languages depending on where they come from. So Ria and I are both multilingual speakers. So Ria, would you like to let them know like what are the languages that you can speak?
So um my native language is Tagalog, as in NCR Tagalog, to be more specific. I learned English in school, and I also learned French when I was in high school. So I am conversational fluent when it comes to French. So I am a multilingual speaker. Luis.
So in my case, my first language or my native language is Ilocano. My second languages are English and Tagalog. So right now, in my workplace, where I work with 90% people who speak Spanish, I am able to communicate with them with Spanish. So whenever people would ask me how many languages you speak, I would always say, "Oh, I can speak three and a half languages." Because even with how much I've learned in college with foreign language Spanish and how much I've been learning from the people I interact with, I can't really claim that I can speak the language because even then I would ask like to the people to translate what Spanish speakers are saying. So that's three and a half languages there. So I'll always stick with that one until I feel confident with saying four languages. So let's continue. So code switching is actually switching from one language to another, and then code mixing is actually mixing rules or elements of one language with another. So to give you an example, um, let's do it on through conversation. So code switching is something like, alam mo ba Ria, yung inuman natin kahapon, it went well. So right there, that's code switching because I used two languages in there in one sentence. So there's the Tagalog, the first part of the sentence, and then there's the English part at the end of the sentence. So that's code switching. And then code mixing is actually more complex because you're actually doing rules and applying them to another language.
So code mixing is, yeah, as Luis said, it's incorporating a language rule into another language. So in terms of Taglish, which is basically a combination of code switching and code mixing, when you say na deliver, it's grammatically correct. But when you say na delivered, it's actually grammatically incorrect. Bakit? Kasi when you use na, that already indicates past tense in Filipino. So, para siyang um kasi I also have Southern Luzon roots. So we often use na and then the base form of the verb. So naulan, nakain, and so on. So hindi namin sinasabi na nakumain ka na ba? Instead, we say nakain ka na ba? Ibig sabihin nun, kumakain ka na ba? So that is what we mean by na plus base form of the verb. Now, in terms of code mixing, na deliver, Ibig sabihin, that also follows the rule of the Tagalog na plus base form of the verb. Kasi, pag sinabi mong na delivered, you are incorporating two different language rules that contradict each other, and that is a form of redundancy. Ibig sabihin, nag-past tense ka na sa Tagalog, nag-past tense ka pa sa English. So it's actually grammatically incorrect. So to make the language more smooth, which is basically the rule, which is basically the whole rationale behind language rules to have smoother conversations, kailangan marunong mag-adjust yung language mo into being able to be incorporated, or the rules of the language to be incorporated into another language. So, basic example, when you use Taglish and you use na, always follow it with the base form of the verb, na deliver, na message, na carry over, na type, um, and so on.
Okay, so that's it for code switching and code mixing.
So, once again, thank you guys for staying with us in this second episode of Baybayin Conversations. So, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Spotify, and on Anchor. So, you can hit us up on those four platforms. Um, Give us your ideas, your comments, your suggestions, what do you want us to talk about, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.